Good.
Dear participants, dear ELT practitioners, dear language education language educators, you're all welcome to this webinar, a Global Decentring Week. And permit me to say the Global Decentring Week this webinar is part of a series of webinars on Decentring ELT, which are running across the globe. We had some in Latin America. We had a webinar in in Asia, and today we're having this webinar in Africa. Decentring ELT is a new concept which is being explored right now, and one of the things which we are doing in this webinar is to extend our understanding of decentring ELT. And as you are going to notice in the presentation, the approach here has totally been decentring, because this is funded by or supported by Hornby Educational Trust. And I'll take this opportunity to acknowledge what they have done to sponsor this webinar, to support us, so we're able to run this webinar from an African perspective with African energy. To this, we say thank you, Hornby, for this wonderful opportunity you've given us to write our names on the platform too. In this webinar, we have a totally decentring focus. Decentring in the sense that the speakers we are going to have are not necessarily part of the center. It's a mix of grassroots stakeholders and key stakeholders. And to us, this in itself is decentring. And this webinar, we are going to have presenters, we call them speakers. They'll tell us what they've made of this concept. And after that, we'll get into breakout rooms and further interact with one another, taking part in this webinar. And then we come back to the main floor for a panel discussion. And after that, we'll close the webinar. And for a start, we would ask Dieudonné to tell us how he conceives decentring. And it is my pleasure to indicate that the focus of this webinar is evidence-based. That means we are reflecting on what and education stakeholders conceive decentring to be. We're reflecting on the data generated from their responses to further reflect and illustrate what decentring ELT is. Dieudonné Akakwasi is the president of CAMELTA. CAMELTA is the Ivory Coast Association of English Language Teachers. Dieudonné, are you right here? You can unmute yourself, please. Good. So I'm going to share your slide, and you tell us what you made of decentring ELT from the data that we shared. Can you see my screen?
Do I have the floor now?
Yes. Can you see my screen, Dieudonné?
Yes, I can see you.
If you can see my screen, then you have the floor.
Okay. Thank
you
you
want
very
to
much.
tell us more about yourself? That's okay.
Okay, there's nothing so special to tell about myself. As already said, what I can say about myself is that I've been teaching English for about 26 years now at secondary level. And right now I'm teaching in a state school, secondary school in Abidjan. So I'm going to share the idea and the experience that I have about Decentring ELT today with all the participants. So Decentring ELT, let's move to the next. Yes, okay. Good. As Eric has said, the nation of Decentring ELT, what I have to say, I have identified what I've called the 3 A's. And for me, the notion of Decentring ELT refers to those 3 A's. The first A is that teachers acquire notions, methods, methodologies, techniques, and any overall lecturing trainings. For the training of teacher, we have initial training and in-service trainings. We have workshops, conferences, and then we have a global notion about teaching English, but the environments will differ. So this is the basic thing that we should be having, let's say, the background as a teacher before going on the field. So this is about acquisition first. Then the second A is, for the second phase, contextualizing. Once we have acquired notions, all those things about teaching, about ELT, what we have to do next is contextualize what have been taught or what have been learned in terms of syllabus design, material design, teaching methods, activities that are typical to a given areas. In case we're teaching in Africa, the testing process and all of those things. This is to contextualize, is adapting. That's the second A. The third A is the implementation, adoption. Adoption means once teachers come together, they agree on the ways to, let's say, contextualize what they have insight concerning the background, then they have to
Hello, everyone.
common being focused on the, let's say, the main objective that they have together, because those teachers belong from a given teaching area. So they have the same context, they have the same environment, they should adopt now. This is the phase of implementation, and that is the third A. So that's why I said I have identified it has the 3 A's. Now let's move to this, the next slide. Okay, so let's come to some of the features of Decentring ELT. The first one is collaboration. Collaboration, this is, it goes with what we call teamwork. Teachers will be collaborating. Once you have to work on a given topic, on a given challenge to find solutions, you should be working in collaboration with your peers. So this can be dealing with how to design the materials, how to analyze the needs of the learners, raising out challenges that are typical to different areas. So when we shift from the European context to the African context, we may have different, let's say, different challenges that are typical to the teaching area. Then we have the context-based.
The one they sent now in the group.
So the context-based teaching or learning is teaching on the basis of, let's say, the environment that takes into account the local realities in terms of room size, class sizes, and the learners themselves, the background of the learners, and in terms of materials, what are the tools that are available in a given area that can be used for, let's say, the teaching process. Then we have a task-based learning. The tasks that can be working in a given area may fail in another area. That's why we should take into account the context where we're teaching. So task-based learning. So there are tools that the student can use in the task. So make them work.
You have 3 more minutes, please.
Yeah, so teacher empowerment, engaging learners, that is taking the environment, the worries, and also all the interest of the learners into account, and then being realistic. What can work, what cannot work, teachers should know that. Next slide. Okay, now I tried to point out some of the activities that could fit with the concept of decentering. As individual activity, I was supposed to teach a lesson about custom and tradition. In the original textbook, the lesson was about trooping colors in the UK. So trooping colors, African did not know what trooping colors is. So I tried to adapt, and I was teaching an area where every family owned a mask. So as a pre-teaching activity, they had to draw marks and collect information about traditions and culture for the next lesson. So this is just taking into account the context. And they succeeded. I was astonished seeing a student with very perfect drawings. And then the group activity, the lesson was about relationship among members of a family. And the typical African family, we're dealing with large, very large African families. So in that area, the teachers agree on the idea of using a well-known and large family. The groups have to go and ask questions to this head of the family. So it also worked perfectly in groups that was a little bit funny, and it was just like it was a game-like activity, and they really succeeded in doing that. This is also decentering, because shifting from the European context of the family to the African context of the family is, let's say, perfect for the learners. So briefly speaking, those are things that can be going with the idea of the concept of decentering.
Okay. So Diodone, you have come to the end of your presentation as far as the information I have is concerned, and we'll leave the audience to process what you have just told us while we do the next presentation. Please, if you are not talking, we advise you to mute your mic. If you are not allowed to talk, please do mute your mic, and maybe unavailable to mute the mic, or may not be so smart to identify who is doing that. Help us run the webinar in a very good atmosphere. Thank you so much. I realized that Mercy is here. Mercy, are you right here now? Mercy, William, are you here? I saw you trying to join. Okay, if Mercy isn't here, then we'll have to go to Abigail, and I'll use this opportunity that Abigail is a vibrant Cameroon, member of CAMELTA. I think it's Vice President for Outreach. We're happy that you're here with us today, Abigail, to share us your information or your ideas on decentering ELT. So I'll share your right now. I'll share your presentation right now on my screen, and you take the floor. Are you ready, Abigail?
I am, Dr. Eric. Thank you.
Great. My screen. Abigail, you have the floor, please.
Okay, thank you for the opportunity. you've given me to share my views of what I was able to gather from the data that was given us by teachers on what they think decentering is. So straight away, I think I've got less than 10 minutes for this presentation, so I would go right away to my plan. So I'll analyze the data proper, and during the analysis, I'll be talking about teachers' view on decentering, the scope of decentering according to the data. And then I'll also try or want to highlight one or two decentering practices that I found interesting while I was analyzing the data. And lastly, I'll share my perspective on what I think decentering is, and one practice that I've been doing, which according to me is decentering. So what did teachers or what do the teachers think decentering is? They said many things while we were analyzing the data, so many laudable ideas, but I had to group them into the same ideas. And the first main idea that I was able to derive from this data was that decentering has to do with teachers collaborating, working together to empower each other. Next, teachers feel that decentering also has to do with networking. It might be closely linked to collaboration, but it has this peculiarity that it is broader. And so the teachers who gave us this data feel that finding and keeping in touch with other English language teachers, constantly sharing their ideas, is an essential part of decentering in English language teaching. Also, teachers feel that there is no decentering in English language teaching if teachers don't ask questions. For example, how context appropriate is the syllabus? Is the information they are giving to learners useful? The methods they are using in class practical? Context. Teachers who gave us the data feel that context is also decentering, and teachers need to create appropriate teaching material, contextually appropriate teaching materials, for example, in their classrooms. And lastly, independence is an essential part of decentering in ELT. It is closely related to the context, to the notion of context, but it is not limited to it. And teachers should not be slaves to textbooks or course books, for instance. And they also need to consider which information is contextually appropriate for their classrooms. So in the second part of my analysis, I looked at the scope of decentering according to the data that the teachers gave us. And I divided this scope, or I'm analyzing this scope of decentering in three different perspectives. From the learner's perspectives, the teachers felt that focus should be on the learners. The learners can or should be involved in teaching, and why not teach each other? From the teachers' perspectives, teachers feel that they should, or we should, be creative in our teaching methodology. Teachers should learn to be independent, and teachers should not be slaves to traditional practices. And lastly, from the curriculum development or developers' perspectives, curriculum developers have to consider the context of the learners and the teachers in developing their curriculum, because the focus should be on how useful what is in the curriculum would help the learners, which of course are the final beneficiaries of the program. So while I was analyzing the data, I fell on very interesting decentering practices that were mentioned by the teachers, but I just could mention because of time too. The first one was students interviewing teachers in the school. There is one teacher who tried this by motivating their students to interview teachers on a particular idea. And also the notion of classroom research. There are 1 or 2 teachers who were or are actively involved in classroom research, which are all practices that tend to ameliorate the teachers' teaching methods, shifting from traditional English language teaching to creative and innovative teaching practices. So now, I would also want to briefly give my own perspective of what I think decentering is. All the ideas that I gathered from the data were amazing, but I also want to say that decentering in English language teaching has to do or should consider aspects such as cultural tolerance, considering non-native accents. Teachers shouldn't be penalized when it comes to their accent, because so many things should be considered. So many things come in place when we want to analyze the teacher's accent. It could be their mother tongue or so many other external factors. So to me, teachers or those who we call native speakers should be tolerant when it comes to non-native accent. And I also want to say that we should shift away from conformity, traditional practices, innovate, create, do what we think is useful for our context. We should accept diversity, and assessments should favor non-native speakers, especially international assessments. I would want to cite examples. And appropriate use of data, of RELIA, sorry. So I would like to conclude by saying that the above analysis shows that African teachers have what it takes and should promote decentering, doing it their own way that works for them. There sure would be challenges, but if we forge ahead, we can make decentering in English language teaching in Africa a transformative force that will empower all English language teachers and their components. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Abigail. Great. Do we have Joseph here? Joseph was here a while ago. So Joseph, are you ready to handle the next presentation? Hello, Joseph. Is Joseph here?
Yes, I was just off. Now I'm back. Can you hear me?
Good. So I'm going to share your presentation now.
Okay.
Good.
In case you notice that I am out, maybe the connection, then you can check if I can reintegrate. So the connection is not
already
stable.
here. We are already here. We are sure that we're going to have you, Joseph.
Okay.
Good. So Joseph, you have 7 minutes. Can you see my screen? Can you see your presentation on my screen?
Yes.
Good.
I can see it. Can I start?
Yep. Sure. So you may start by telling us who you are and where you work, so the audience knows you and knows who is talking.
Thank you, Eric, for giving me the floor. Hello, everyone. I am Dr. Kaleba Walingene Joseph. I am an associate professor at the National Pedagogic University in Kinshasa, and I am the vice president of class, Congolese Language Supporters Society. This is our teacher association in DRC. I've been teaching English for more a decade. I taught English at secondary school for 7 years, and I've been teaching at university level in 17 years now. I was asked to summarize, to analyze the answers provided by one of the respondents, who was asked to write some expressions about ELT, 5 to 6 expressions. The second question asked the respondents to give their personal understanding about, they would explain about decentering ELT. The third question was to briefly cite some examples of ELT activities that they have carried on as individuals. And the last question, the activities that they have been doing in group. Hey, Eric, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, thank you. So these are the 4 questions that the respondent was asked to answer, that I analyzed this way. I used the approach to organize the data. I tried to identify common themes with the responses, and I also made some codes and grouped these similar codes to have some interpretation. And this is what now I am presenting now. To start with, next slides. The main theme, I've got, yes. Oh, so the main theme I found in all what the respondents said was concerned professional development. And professional development, next slide, Eric, next slide. Professional development, because the sub-themes, the first is empowerment through collaboration. The second is contextual problem solving. The next is continuous learning and teacher-student dynamics. So all these sub-themes fall in the basket of professional development. And it is through this theme that the respondents also gave their own experience of the activities that they have conducted about ELT. Next. Then going to my interpretation, I learned from the respondents that there is teacher needs of collaboration to empower themselves and to initiate localized actions. And there is this shifting, the focus of ELT in Africa, which means transition from conventional Western approach to the methods that consider local setting and cater the requirements of learners. And teachers work together. They connect and participate in professional growth to improve their abilities. So the methods focus on the teaching techniques that involve the students, and they encourage collaboration to create more inclusive and efficient learning atmosphere. So the second sub-theme is continuous learning. And in this continuous learning, the respondents emphasized more on participation in conferences and professional association or development. And I can back this idea from my own experience that some conferences are catering, between this center and dissenter, in the sense that, for example, there are some international conferences that are organized in the UK, in the US, but not all teachers can have an opportunity to go to those conferences. But now, as we are having some regional conferences, this is an aspect of Decentring ELT, because students and teachers can be able to participate. So the third sub-theme is contextual problem solving. And this identify the addressing the specific classroom problems. Here I can quote the respondent's answer. He or she witnessed that in Cameroon, teachers work together. They adapt learning materials, involve students in project-based learning, and put a focus on improving their own skills. So this is in line with what the main theme says. Teachers in Cameroon are working together. They are trying to incorporate some learning materials that involve students in the project learning activities. The other sub-theme concerning professional development is teacher-student dynamics. And here I have noticed the important
I'm giving you one more minute, please.
Yes. So the adapt method and English language teaching. And here I quote again the respondent who said he or she has carried a research project on why their learners find it difficult to speak English. And for that, he or she involved some other teachers. They inquire on how they solve this problem. So in conclusion, it is essential to integrate all these flexible methods in teaching English and putting the learner at the center of the learning, and also collaborating with other teachers in order to work on the daily basis classroom problems. So in short, ELT emphasized learner-centered approach, and teachers are encouraged to solve local problem in a contextual way. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Joseph. I'm going to find out if we're able to successfully have Mercy here. Mercy, are you back with us? Yes, Mercy is right here. So I'm going to, good. You briefly tell us who you are and what you do, and then you move straight to your presentation, please.
Okay, thank you very much for the opportunity to speak.
My screen, so you have your presentation, all right?
Okay, no problem, sir.
Good. Can you see my screen?
Yes, I can.
Good. You have the floor, please.
Okay, thank you very much for this opportunity to share my work. Greetings to everyone here present. I'm sorry I can't use my video. It's really dark where I am. My name is Mercy Ma Iwuyum, and I'm a teacher in Cameroon. Presently, I teach in the Far North region of Cameroon, in the locality of Kuseri, Amshedire, more precisely. And I've been teaching for 4 years now, and that's basically it about me. And I am also part of the CAMELTA research group in Cameroon. Okay, right now I'm going to get into my presentation, and I'll start by saying that what the global discussion holds about decentring ELT is that it's not about proposing new teaching methods or changes in
Mercy, it looks like we lost you.
education policy, but rather about recognizing this and creativity in actual practice of teachers. A questionnaire was sent to practitioners and other education stakeholders so they can share, they could share their views on the Decentring ELT and how they practice this in the classroom and individually for professional development. This presentation focuses on the analysis of data obtained from teachers in Cameroon, Nigeria, Ethiopia, Cote d'Ivoire, and Kenya. And so reflecting on the evidence I obtained, I have chosen to entitle my presentation an analysis of African teachers' perspectives of decentering ELT. So I analyzed my data using qualitative data analysis. And after carefully reading the data, I was able to put together the recurring ideas that capture the notion of decentering ELT from the teachers' responses. I later identified through their responses, major themes, and how they put it into practice. So understanding, the first item is understanding decentering.
It looks like we lost you again.
ELT, that's from the teacher's perspectives in Africa, to collaborations, networking, teamwork. It's hello.
Yes, Mercy.
Hello. Yeah.
Yes, continue, Mercy. If you're back here, your network is epileptic. Sorry. We are sorry we can't have Mercy consistent.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay. I'm lost. I don't know where you lost me. So
yeah.
Okay, maybe I should just go ahead.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. I was presenting on, or I'm already on the slide, understanding.
Well, Mercy, I'm afraid we'll have to come back to you later if you manage to have
teachers' perspectives. And these are put together, identifying as soon as their needs, adjusting content to fit learners' level, identifying features of their context to inform the lessons, building learning materials for the benefit of learners. It's about empowering learners to be each other's leaders through peer teaching and group exercises. ELT is about shared leadership. The teacher is not a priest. Hello?
Yes, you're on this. You're on the 7th now. We got it. Can you continue?
Okay. Please? All right. Decentring ELT is about the teacher self-evaluating himself to see if his goals are achieved. It's about breaking down English to smaller buts, which builds critical thinking of students to question narratives. That's building critical thinking for both the teacher and the learners. And it's about breaking off from course book in all. Next slide, please. Hello?
Yes, we're right here, Mercy.
Can I get the next slide?
Yeah, you're right there. Is this where you want us to be? Yes, Mercy, we're sorry. We will have to stop this, move to the next
the major things that I have said is that there is a problem-solving aspect, skills, teacher and development, collaboration, networking, and the others. So the activities that I could pick out that capture the notion of decentering ELT are the following. That's I group them under individual activities and group activities. The next slide, please. The first aspect, which I pointed out, just for example, critical thinking. The activity that the teacher, one of the respondents gave is that the activity was aimed at easing learners' understanding of vague topics in writing. The teacher used an outdoor activity to let students brainstorm learners were asked.
Yeah, we have it. Can you move to the next place?
To look at the tree and give their opinion about material. The course book does not suit learners' needs. The activity was aimed at getting learners to build a chart tools or a chart of tools, sorry, they use depending on their field of study, and the words put both in French and English, and this they used throughout the school year. Other individual activities under collaboration and building student leaders. It's about project-based learning. A project-based learning activity was done by the teacher in which the students create digital storytelling projects based on their cultural experiences and perspectives, and students worked in groups under this. We could see professional development from one of the teachers who participated in the Africa CAMELTA Female Mentorship Program, where she did a presentation on her experiences as a teacher. In the process, she learned from other
Oh, it's unfortunate. Mercy, we can't move on like this. We'll have to stop at this point and maybe catch up between the breakout rooms. For the
teachers
interest of the
and
participants,
develop professionally in the activities. Hello.
Yes, Mercy, can you just go to your last slide, and participants will meet you in the breakout rooms to get more details on your presentation, please.
Okay, no problem.
Yes.
Okay, from
Okay.
all which I could analyze, we could all see that.
Sorry, I'm sure participants can quickly have a look at this, and then you will continue in the background.
Teachers actually involved in the decentring of English language teaching, and it's just about us getting the teaching in the decentring.
Mercy, thank you so much. Thank you. We're sorry the network was unstable and we didn't get you the way we thought we would. So we'll have to move to the next presenter. It's Harriet here. I'm sorry, we apologize for the network problem, please, and you will have to talk with Mercy either in the breakout rooms or during feedback, please. Please, if you're not talking, you mute yourself. I'm trying to mute you, and you don't have to get unmuted all the time when you are not talking. So, Harriet, are you here? Hello, Harriet. Can you unmute yourself and let us know if you're here? Harriet is in the waiting room. Harriet, are you with us? Well, this is part of the things we'll have to be reflecting on as far as Decentring ALT is concerned, especially at this point in time where we are going digital. And if we're having issues like this, we'd like to find out strategies through which we can decenter EAT and make it more inclusive. And one more try we want to find out is if Harriet is back here. Harriet, are you here? Okay, we are going to maybe violate the traditional norms of webinar presentations and maybe give an opportunity for those who couldn't be with us here because of network problems. If they find their way back into the conference, then we'll be flexible enough to give them the opportunity to share their thoughts, maybe in 2-3 minutes. At this point in time, please, in 2 minutes, you're going to be in breakout rooms, and the breakout rooms are numbered. So, sorry, and are labeled. You should, I am manually going to assign you to a breakout room. So in which you have the opportunity to discuss further with the presenter. Yes, Paula, can you help here? What's happening with the breakout rooms?
Are you our host, Eric? So you would be.
I've been trying to assign participants to the breakout rooms, and I'm clicking on the icon, but it's not giving me the opportunity to finish the assignment.
Yeah, I cannot help you with that because I am not the host anymore.
Okay.
So I gave you full rights to organize the breakout rooms.
Yes, I don't know if this is well, I've started the process of breakout, assigning participants to breakout room, but right now the icon doesn't open. I hope I didn't touch anything.
How many rooms do you need to organize, Eric?
There are 5. The 5 breakout rooms for 44 participants, and that should be enough for us to interact.
How many? Sorry, how many did you say?
5.
5 participants. Okay, so what I'm going to do to help is that I'm going to reclaim host rights. And then I'm going to try if I can make it work myself.
That's fine.
Okay. Then I will give you host rights again. So right now, based on what I see here, I could create 9 breakout rooms that would allow 4 to 5 participants. Sorry, I completely forgot I wasn't using my camera. So are you happy with that? 9 breakout rooms with 4 to 9, or you prefer?
We have 5, please.
5 breakout rooms.
10 in breakout rooms or 9 in breakout room is good.
Okay, perfect. So 5 breakout rooms from 8 to 9.
You're having the presenters, Dieudonné for room 1. That's what we had. Dieudonné for room 1. Abigail for room 2. Joseph for room 3.
Okay, I cannot do that because these are assigned automatically.
Okay, no problem.
You can assign them, Paula. There is a way of doing it.
Yes, I was already doing it, and I don't understand how the icon stopped functioning here. I'd assigned up to participants for up to 3 rooms.
Okay. So who is the person that you need in the first room?
Dieudonné, that was the first speaker, Dieudonné Aka. That's for room 1.
Okay. Okay,
and
room
Abigail
2.
for room 2.
Okay. In room 3?
Mercy. Because of a network, so we may have Mercy and Joseph.
Okay, in room 3.
And Joseph Kaleba for room 4. And room 5, you have Harriet.
Joseph, are you there?
Yes, I am here.
Good.
Okay. I'm looking for Joseph right now. So Joseph is going to be in room number 3.
It said number 4.
Okay. Okay, who is in number 3? You said Eric?
Harriet. Karen Diko.
Okay, room number 5.
Do you have Mercy already?
Okay.
Yeah, good. If you don't, then Mercy can stay in room 5. And
Okay.
Mercy, alternatively with Joseph Feleke, since Mercy, we are not very sure of her network. Joseph Feleke can be part of that room. So it works like that.
Okay, so I'm going to, I think they're ready. If anybody is not in the corresponding room, they can come back to the main room and I can reassign.
Okay.
Okay, do they know what they need to do?
Yes, what they have to do is in the breakout rooms, you're not going to ask the participants to start making presentations. These are questions which you may want to use as prompts for interaction. You're going to interact amongst yourself. You can ask, you can try to share what you found in any of the presentations that links with your own experience of decentering, as you conceive decentering ELT. And then one of the things which you may also want to find out is what was the most pertinent thing that you found in all the presentations as far as decentering ELT is concerned. Then the third question, which you want to check with the presenters and one another, is what is practically possible in Africa, and what is, if you think there's anything which is impossible, you bring that out, because we are brainstorming and trying to expand our understanding of the knowledge of decentering, and we should move along these lanes. So that's how the discussions in the breakout rooms should take place. Now, the leaders of the breakout rooms, please, you may take a few notes. You may take a few notes that you will share with us when we come back to the main floor. And in the breakout rooms, you are there only for 10 minutes.
Okay, I have opened all the rooms so people can start joining.
Hello, Paula.
Hello, Eric.
Yes. Is it possible for me to be now as co-host so I can move to other rooms? And I find so many people stay in the main room.
Yeah, usually the people that stay in the main room is because they are either not really listening or they don't know how to enter the room. And I already gave them instructions.
So please, you just look on your screen and you see the room to which you have been assigned, and you click and you join.
You are the host again, Eric.
Okay, thank you so much. So I'm going to join room 2 now. So you stay in the main room and monitor. Is it okay with that? Are you okay with that, Paola?
Yeah, I can stay here and check.
Thank you
But
so
I
very much.
cannot do much without being host. I cannot monitor people coming in and out. I cannot admit people.
Kí n má bínú ẹ̀kan, nídìí múra sí wàyí. You want to enjoy it, Abi?
Could you please mute your mics? Thank you. Could you please mute your mics while you are in the session? Thank you. Hello, please, for the people that are here and did not enter the breakout rooms, could you please mute your mics? Thank you.
Everyone who's here, I've assigned you to breakout rooms. So Paula, are we going to bring are we going to announce the time left for working the breakout rooms?
Okay, Eric, I couldn't speak. There is people around me, so I had to escape to a more silenced private space. So what do you need? Because I'm not host, so I cannot really do anything.
Yes, I can do that. I can announce time left for breakout rooms. Let me just check. Let me just see breakout rooms. It's still not going. What's happening with my setting?
Let me claim it. What do you want me to do?
Find time. This is incredible. I was able to do breakout rooms. 3 rooms. I don't know what happened.
Okay, I'm host again. What do you need me to do? To inform them
Just
that
say
they have...
yes, 4 more. Did you time it?
I think you are past time now for the whole webinar. So I don't know what you want to do.
Maybe just announce 2 more minutes in the breakout rooms, and then we stop. Thank you so very much, Paula.
You're welcome. Hello, everybody. We are just going to provide 2 additional minutes to finish this activity in the breakout rooms. After that, we are going to close them all and come back to the main room. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
There are 2 people waiting in the waiting room. Do you want me to let them in? Because they're going to come in here. Or do you want to wait until everybody's here? Maybe let's wait until everybody's here.
I would send them to the breakout room so they get the last thing that is said in the next 30 seconds before coming back here.
Okay. Could you please mute yourselves as you enter the room? Thank you. So 1 more minute. The moment I close the breakout rooms and they all come here, I'm immediately going to give you host rights again, okay?
Okay, thank you so very much.
Okay, I'm going to close them now. Is that okay?
Okay, thank you so much. It should be fine.
And I'm going to make you host again.
Okay. Okay, we are right here, and we would like to get what happened in the breakout rooms. And I would love to start with room 1. And you're given just 1 minute, maximum 90 seconds, to share your opinion on the questions with the prompts which we gave you. So room 1, where Dieudonné was, who took the notes?
That's me,
Great,
Veronica.
Veronica, thank you so much.
All right. Well, I think the two things that came out are the two aspects of decentering that came out in our discussions was really contextualizing not just the materials, but also the way in which we view a classroom, or the way in which we view a classroom as either difficult or not difficult, the way we view materials and how materials are used in a classroom. So, and adapting even the conceptions, Dieudonné did the example of the family and as well as transportation, things that are in a English language textbook sometimes out of context when it comes to various contexts here in Africa. So, and then there was the other side, which is what does decentering mean to the lived experience of teachers, of students. And here decentering focused a lot on creating empowerment for teachers, decentering where that power is. And so having teachers be more centered on their circumstances and being able to speak on their circumstances to normalize the lived experiences of students. And that also the last comment was about sort of teaching centers and trying to create collaboration so that teachers do not feel alone in their struggles or in their questions or in trying to empower the local circumstance, the local normalizing of what happens in these contexts. And so those are the two things that came out of our discussion. I hope I did us justice.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Veronica. We are grateful you're able to do this for us. Room 2, please. That was where Abigail was. Who made notes in room 2?
Yes, I've been asked to speak for us in room 2. Good. And in room 2, we considered what decentering means to each one of us, and then what things we have been doing that could be regarded as decentering. And two things stood out. One, that socializing is, first of all, that decentering is moving away from the traditional mode to more exploitative things, doing other things that will help to enhance ELT in the classroom. And then we saw that socializing, hello, I can continue?
Yes, yes, we can hear you. You have 20 more seconds.
Oh, okay. And socializing, you know, like we were told that there is a women's association that it's a reminder of what TA also can be. And so socializing and object lessons. An object lesson like a child, oh, prepositions, we want to teach prepositions. Raise your hands up, and that is teaching the preposition up. Put your hands down, go under the table, and all that, that these can actually stamp the lesson in the minds of the very young learners, especially, and help them to remember the lessons better. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Boma. In room 3, where Harriet was. Who was in room 3? Who took notes in room 3, please? Harriet, can you tell us what happened in room 3? Harriet, we are right here. Can you unmute yourself?
We had Mercy in room 3, not Harriet actually. Mercy, Renu, yeah.
Yeah, Ravi, were you there? Can you have briefly
Yeah, I
share
was
with
there.
us? Oh, great.
Okay, yeah. Thanks,
Thank you
Eric.
so
Yes.
much for always being ready to
thanks.
help.
Okay. Yeah, we mainly talked about collaboration as a key element of decentering. So collaboration between or among colleagues at the school level, at the local level, collaboration through teacher associations. I think that came up as a strong element of decentering. Collaboration among teachers, collaboration between teacher and students. And this collaboration can lead to designing different activities, localizing the materials, and then using students' own languages in the classroom. So these are, I mean, very interesting thoughts we had. And also there was a question on the limit. What should be the limit of this decentering? I mean, when we talk about Englishes, global Englishes, there is standard English. So, I mean, can we have complete kind of decentering, or is there any, can we draw a limit? I mean, that kind of discussion also we had. And then also about decentering at the pre-service and in-service levels. I mean, if something can happen at the pre-service teacher education level, that will also be useful. I mean, the curriculum can reflect decentering initiatives at the pre-service teacher education courses. Yeah, that's what we discussed, Eric. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, Ravi. And in group 4, is that where Harriet was? Room 4, or Joseph?
Hey, Eric.
Yes.
Oh, thank
Who
you.
took notes in your
Actually,
room,
we were also with Harriet in room 4, and there was a very, very interesting discussion in terms of what does decentering mean to all of us, and also the aspects of decentering. We enumerate collaboration, contextualization, all these CPT, but there was a question that triggered really an interesting discussion. Some of us asked, what is centered, which needs to be decentered? And when we are adopting decentering, is it negative or positive? And then from our discussion, we all learned that it is not negative, because center is like all these standards, all these principles from which we need to build and now try to localize our way of teaching. For example, if we can go to the conferences, if there are international conferences that are held internationally, there are also some initiatives, some local initiatives that are also done locally, which give opportunity to the teachers who cannot make it to go to the international conferences. They can make it. And they gave an example of Cameroon, where there is a region which is just remotely and suffering from not having participation, or even the national board cannot even reach there, but the local initiatives are also trying to bridge the gap. And also in terms also of conferences, instead of what is center is what? People, when they are arranging local conferences, they don't necessarily need to have speakers from abroad. Some local speakers have also experience in the classroom and can check and share with others and can be beneficial. So it was seen that as peripheral of decentering are like trying to accommodate, to customize these standards to local situations, and it is giving an opportunity. Student-centered approach is now taking place to teacher-centered approach, for example, and it is giving an opportunity for both to participate, teachers and learners, and everyone is valued. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Joseph. Room 5. Everyone is valued. That's very important. Room 5. Who was with Joseph Poleke?
I took notes in room 5 because I
thank
was
you.
listening. I was
Thank you,
listening.
Anna.
I represent the center, I think, so I said I would listen. So the questions that came up from a couple of the participants in our room was, do we need to decenter? And does decentering mean that Africa is in opposition to Europe? Was a question. Also, does it mean decentering? Does decentering mean not following European methodologies and developing new methodologies? But how does that work? How does that happen? And also a question about models of pronunciation. So does that mean that each country develops its own model of pronunciation? There were a couple of people from Ethiopia in the room who both brought that up. And then also the problems of trying to be innovative and at the same time covering a syllabus, which has been set by the ministry, which is a constraint on time and, you know, what you do with your classes. That was brought up by someone from Cameroon and someone from Nigeria as well. Yes, and how can we be innovative and address our student needs with these types of constraints? So constraints of syllabus and constraints of time.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Is that all?
Yes, sorry,
Okay.
yes, that is, yes.
Thank you so much, Anna.
Okay.
And right now, we are exceeding our conference time, but I feel like the test of the pudding seems to hold us to continue with the panel discussion and see what the panelists can make of these presentations and the exciting discussions that took place in the various breakout rooms. So on the panel here, we are going to invite Salome. Salome is a practitioner based in Nigeria, and it's a member of the treasurer of the Nigerian English Language Teacher Association. Salome, are you here with us?
Yes, I'm here.
Good. And we are also going to have Edouard Sheikh. Edouard Sheikh is the president of the Association of Teachers of English in Senegal.
Yes,
Edouard, are
I'm here.
you here with us?
Yeah, I'm here.
Beautiful. We are also going to have Joseph Peleke, who is the president of the English Language Teachers of Association of Ethiopia. Joseph, are you here?
Yes.
Good. And we have Elodie. Elodie is an English language practitioner and a very active member of CAMELTA research group. Is Elodie here?
Yes, sir, I'm right here.
I'm going to give two of you, I'm going to give all of you 2 minutes each to tell us what this conference, far as the questions that came up are concerned. I'll start with Salome. Ladies before gentlemen.
Thank you very much, Dr. Kimbe. Thank you, everyone who's here. I'd just like to take briefly what I think decentering is. I see decentering. In fact, when I was preparing for this, I drew a circle, and we have ELT practices, the ones we're already familiar with, the ones we've been doing for all these years we've been teaching. The teacher being at the center, the traditional curriculum, we have learning materials which are already there for us to use. And then we have to move away from all of these practices to go different ways, like focusing more on the learner. So that's what I think decentering is, adapting these materials we already have into various ways that could get our learners to help us achieve what we want for these learners. Then for this conference, I've learned quite a lot, which agree with what I also believe. For instance, during Abigail's presentation, I particularly took note of this, considering non-native accent. In Nigeria, we have this challenge. If a teacher has a native accent, it's difficult to work in a private school as an English teacher. In fact, as any teacher at all, if you want to go to one of the big private schools, they see your accent as something that you would pass on to the learners, and they see it as negative. But from decentering, I see that we should be happy with our own accent. I mean, it's like the variety of the English language we speak in our own context. And learners should have the opportunity of being exposed to as many accents as possible, and it shouldn't be seen as negative. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sally. Thank you so much. Edouard, are you here with us?
So yes, thank you very much. Thank you, dear esteemed attendant participant of this conference. We are involved today in a transformative journey which allow us to make a shift from traditional models to more inclusive context approaches. What do I mean by that is, from Decentring, I learned that we should now teach out of the box. And as Salomon said a little while ago, with Decentring ELT, we are in a context of diversity that should be something that we should put into account while providing for our learners' needs, because right in a curriculum, we should go beyond things, because teaching is growing. And while a person is growing, he needs a lot of many things that are not only written on a syllabus. This is what I have learned best from Decentring. And as the teacher association leader, so most of the time we move out of very pushed up cities and go in remote areas to meet teachers who are in remote areas and exchange with them, have share good practices in education, and how can I say it, transform the lives of the teachers by exchanging, and those exchange are here in order to transform the needs of the different students. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Edouard and Joseph. Please, over to you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Eric. I may ask you for a few minutes, maybe 10 minutes might not be that enough. Thank you very much indeed for this opportunity.
I'll give you maximum 2.
And I would like to thank all the esteemed participants and presenters. And I'll be summarizing the notion of decentering ELT from the presenters, the breakout rooms discussion, and my own perspective based on the analyzed data across Africa. Like they say, the data provided for this webinar on decentering ELT were gathered from English teaching professionals, primarily from Ethiopia, Cameroon, Nigeria, Cote d'Ivoire, Kenya, Senegal, among others. And the presenters, they indicated that the professionals shared insights, experiences, and examples of ELT activities, which are aligned with the concept of decentering ELT. The data also reflect diverse perspectives and approach to ELT. According to the presentation and my intensive interaction with the data was structured around key themes and ideas which are very pertinent to decentering ELT. It actually indicates empowering teachers, fostering collaboration, integrating local materials, promoting student autonomy, and grasping cultural diversity. I could also talk about extracted expressions and phrases capturing the notion of decentering ELT from the presenters and my own analysis. Just to pinpoint some of the expressions, I can talk about collaboration. This almost has been mentioned by all the presenters. And this is very important because this involves working together to create inclusive learning environments that can cater to the diverse needs of students. The other expression and very important point is context-based teaching. This is all about tailoring instruction to align with the cultural and linguistic context of learners. The other one is acknowledging local resources. Of course, this is what we can decentralize, okay? This is integrating locally relevant materials. What are they? And the experiences we have in local context into English language instruction. The other point is empowering teachers and learners. This is like the ultimate goal of Decentring ALT. This is all about fostering autonomy, critical thinking, and leadership among teachers and students alike. Therefore, these expressions and others mentioned by the presenters reflect the core principles of Decentring ALT, which prioritize collaboration, cultural sensitivity, and learner autonomy. And a number of examples have been mentioned by those presenters. And those examples showed from the various countries showcase diverse approach to decentering ALT across different African countries. The given examples also illustrate how teachers or educators are adapting teaching practices to meet the unique needs and contexts. So what are some of the reasons that activities align with decentering ALT? For the interest of time, I'll just pinpoint only the major ones. The first one is shifting to student-centered learning environments. Absolutely. That is from like the traditional mode of teaching into what the modern way, into the inclusive, into the participatory form of teaching. A very good example for this one could be a project-based learning activity where students work in groups to research and present on the topic of their choice. So this can shift the focus from the teacher delivering content to students actively engaging the learning process. The other point is embracing cultural diversity and inclusivity. This is also another very important point that we have seen from the analyzed data of the presenters. The third point is fostering critical thinking, problem solving, and leadership skill. This can be done by using decentering ALT. A very good example that I mentioned it earlier is about the project-based learning activities. This can be used for a number of activities. In doing so,
yes, you have 10 seconds.
Okay, their critical thinking, their problem-solving leadership, and others. So to wind up, maybe, as we conclude our exploration of decentering ALT, it is essential to reflect on the profound importance and impact of what? This pedagogical approach. By shifting the focus from traditional, which is teacher-centered, modes, to more inclusive and participatory learning environments. Therefore, I would like to say, let's reaffirm our commitment to grasping the principles of decentering ALT in our teaching practices. Let us continue to collaborate, innovate, and adapt to the diverse needs and contexts of our students. We need to ensure that every learner has the opportunity to thrive and succeed in their or in his or her language learning journey. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Joseph. I have one last question for any one of you, and you are going to give me a direct answer. What would be the constraint of adopting decentering ALT practices in our context in Africa? And generally, I think about positive things, but one way through which I think about positive things is to anticipate constraints and challenges. So I would leave the panelists to decide, or you can volunteer to tell us what you think. What would be, from all this discussion, what would be the constraints, major constraints of implementing decentering practices as we have shared in this conference? What would be the constraints in Africa? This is for the panelists. If you are not ready, I'm going to get the audience to answer this question. Edouard, okay, Edouard is right here.
Yeah. As far as I'm concerned, in Senegalese context, what might be the obstacle to decentering might be connected to the fact that people are really hooked to the harmonized progression that are going on in the country. So very often, wherever you might go in the different regions, the academics, the educational authorities, they see that there should be really standard harmonized progression that all the teachers should follow for the different evaluation, the different assessment that are taking place in the country, at the regional level. So this might be considered as, you know, an obstacle or an hindrance, but it might be, you know, something that be, you know, win over, because if teachers work together, as it is mentioned, collaboration. So I think there should be some new other ground on which people might stick to work together and run Decentring in their different areas. Thank you.
Thank you. Salome.
Can I say,
Yeah.
Eric?
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Ladies before gentlemen now. Salome, please.
Okay. Another challenge that I see is
1 minute. You have, sorry, 30 seconds to give me a straight answer, please.
One other challenge I see is parents who are not current with the trends of the times, educators who are not current, curriculum planners and developers who are not current. So they are not able to follow and they resist this change. For instance, in one of the schools where I teach, I chose to give students notes through WhatsApp because it's easier for them to just copy the notes at home and then come to class and we discuss these things. But then the parents who own these phones resisted it vehemently. In fact, they came to the PTA meeting and they were really upset. Why would a teacher give students notes through WhatsApp? And I said, madam, that's the current trend. It's easier that way. So we spend more time discussing rather than focusing on note copying in the class. So for parents, educators and others who are not abreast with the times, it might be very challenging to use Decentring methods.
Thank you. Thank you, Salome. Thank you.
Yes,
now,
Eric, I want to come in also.
From ladies to...
Eric, can I come in?
Yes, just sorry, 20 seconds. 20 seconds, and I mean 20 seconds, please. Give me a straight answer.
From Harriet.
Is that for me, or are you just talking to me?
Harriet.
Okay,
yeah, Harriet.
okay, yeah, Eric, to me, I see that one of the constraints will be our overcrowded classrooms in Africa. With the nature of our classroom that are overcrowded, it will be very difficult for teachers to leave that center and send the learners to the center. I see classrooms where there's no space. I see classrooms that are so traditional, and it can really be a daunting task for learners to try to do things on their own in such classrooms. But with the empowerment that we can have from our teacher associations, I think we can still overcome that difficulty.
All of you give me the impression that you are aware of what is supposed to be constraints and that there is already something that is being done to overcome this constraint. So in a nutshell, there is no impossibility for Decentring. Now, one of our speakers, our panelists, who has not been given the floor, I will give her the floor to wrap up this panel discussion. Elodie, are you here?
Yes, sir, I'm right here.
Good. What have you made of this discussion here? And what does Decentring mean to you in terms of conception, practice, and in terms of professional development?
Okay. If you may permit me, I want to chip in something as far as the last question that you gave concerned before coming back to your previous answer. In 1 second. Teachers do always say that they cannot engage themselves into maybe research projects or maybe look for another way reflecting to make sure that learning is effectively taking place, maybe by engaging their learners to discuss with them, because they assume that they will not have enough time looking at the syllabus that they have in classes, which they have to finish before maybe the end of the school year. So I want to say that this at times might be a constraint for not implementing some of these beautiful and innovative practices that we've learned so far today.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Elodie.
Coming
Yes.
back to Decentring, Decentring is
In 1 minute.
not a negative thing. Decentring does not mean bridging completely from where we started before talking about something different. No, all of these presentations all together were decentering because no presentation looked like the same. And this is something that we should have in mind. We are capable. I like Eric who said something, because we assume that people from the other side, not to pinpoint them, we assume that we Africans, we are afraid of trusting our resources, trusting our capacity to make sure that learning is effectively taking place into our classroom.
Okay. Thank you very much, Elodie. I understand that if we open the floor, we're going to stay here till the next day because there are a lot of things coming up. Unfortunately, we can't do that because many other people have a lot of things to do, and we will think about ways through which we can all create a forum for moving this debate up front and having more practical illustrations of what decentering really means. We have been talking from diverse backgrounds, and someone has been listening who was not initially planned or programmed to speak. I'll give her 1 minute, and mean 1 minute, to summarize or to tell us the knowledge she's made from this discussion. Edna, are you here?
Yes, I am.
If you have been following this discussion, you have 1 minute to tell us what has been going on.
Okay, Doctor, thank you for giving me the floor. I hope everybody is getting me right. Okay, I am Chinsa Edna, a senior translator and English teacher in Cameroon, and I've been teaching English to adults for 2 years. And in my opinion, I can see that decentering is a sort of change. They're trying to change a dimension of teaching from traditional to another level. And I understand that change is scary, like change brings fear. But I think that us Africans, we do not have to fear change. We have to push up for the implementation of this other perspective of teaching in our context. And so, in a nutshell, talking about context, we have to be sensitive to the realities, to our social environment, and talking about persons or the teacher making decisions and taking action based on context factors. Going further to materials and policy, we have to see who designs them, why, for who, and the basis and on which or what basis, and to end the process. Why this action and not another action? Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Edna. And with this, ladies and gentlemen, we come to the end of this webinar. We started with a lot of difficulties, but we're happy that we've been able to have a few things go through. I am sincerely grateful to Paula Reboledo, who has been the technician behind all of this, not only here. Sometimes in Africa, we say that when you hear someone dancing on the street, it means that another person is playing the drum in the bush. And what you see, there's things that have happened here. Paula was playing the drum in the bush, and at a certain point, I got scared because she would bully it at me at one point and another when things weren't working through or weren't going well. Paula, I would thank you so much for all your support and for everything that you've done with us to make sure that we have and essentially decentering focus in this conference. Our participants were made up of direct classroom teachers, pedagogic inspectors, teacher association leaders, and we are so grateful to all of them for taking time to analyze the data that we sent out and making sure that we disseminate the content. I'm also very grateful to the Hornby Educational Trust for creating this forum and giving us the opportunity. I'm talking about Professor Martin Weddell, Dr. Kucha Hari, and Professor Amol Padua, and the others who probably were unable to be here. I can't wrap up this discussion without letting Paola tell us one or two things. Paola, over to you, please.
Hello. Well, I don't feel like I have the right to give the closing words, but all I just can say that it was so inspiring and thought-provoking. I wasn't surprised at all. I knew that the content of the conversation was going to be very insightful, and it was going to provide a lot of opportunities for us to think about the concept a little bit further and exploring it a little bit more. I think I was proven right in my belief that this was going to be a great opportunity for us to do that. So thank you very much, CAMELTA, for organizing this webinar, and particularly Eric for your leadership on this. So without further ado, I just give the floor back to you, Eric, since I think the closing words should come from you, actually.
Okay. Thank you very much, Paola, and thank you, fellow participants, speakers, and panelists. We realized that we could move on and on with this discussion, and all we are soliciting is another occasion for us to listen and see if we can really hit the nail and get the real issues around decentering ELTs sorted. Thank you so much. Thank you, and enjoy the rest of your weekend. And if at any point in time we find occasion or the possibility of creating a forum for further discussions on this, we will get to you. We have your contact details. Thank you, and bye-bye.
Thank you too. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody. Thank you for coming.
Thank you. Thank you.
Paola
It
or
was
Eric?
very interesting.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
Will this be
Thank you
available?
so much.
Yeah.
Will the video be available for those of us who participated, or?
Of course, an event is recorded, and about we should talk with Paola to see how it's.
Yeah, we are going
disseminated.
to cut the parts that on the breakout room discussion. The recording does not go as far as the breakout rooms, so we are going to cut that part, and then it's probably going to be shared through CAMELTA and through the Hornby website.
Oh, okay, super. All right. We are doing some research with other Hornby groups, and so I would love to have this because I took tons of notes, and I'd love to have discussions with anybody who would be interested. I'm gonna go ahead and put my email on, because I would like to have. I learned so much here about the African perspective, and I would be so happy to learn more. So I will. I was gonna just share my email for anybody who would be interested.
Yeah, thank you, Veronica. That's very kind of you. But as I said, at the Hornby site, there's going to be the recordings of the 3 different perspectives. So the African perspective, the Latin American and Caribbean perspective, and then we have the perspective from South Asia, from the webinar that is going to happen on Monday.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
Thank
Super.
you.
Thank you.
Bye. Okay, Eric, you are still host, so you can continue to say goodbye to people. I'm going to leave because I have a plane to catch.
Good. Thank you. Formally, we end the meeting, and whoever
Bye,
wants to
Eric.
stay behind, whoever wants to stay behind for a glass of beer is welcome, please. Online, but the beer takes place only here.
Oh, such a shame.
Thank you so much. Thank you. The meeting is officially ended.